Success is not about working hard or being super disciplined. It's about building systems. So one thing which I've struggled in the past, lot of time in the past is I always thought, you know what, I'm not disciplined enough. I don't have willpower enough, and I've blamed myself for that. And I've lived in that guilt of not having followed through what I had decided I would do. But I came to know some time ago that no, it's about building systems because ultimately for each and every human, willpower is a finite resource, discipline is a finite resource, and there would always be circumstances when these resources would run out. So what you need is basically good systems around you. So I would talk about 5 hacks for having good systems. So one first hack is trap yourself. So imagine example of this guy Hernan Cortez, who in I think year 1519, who burned his own ships so that his men had no option to go back. So they were attacking Mexico, I believe, so they were trying to take over Mexico, and because his men didn't have the option to go back, so they basically conquered Mexico. Now, obviously, it was bad for the Mexicans at that time, but this just goes on to show you the importance of not having a plan B or trapping yourself somehow that you are forced to follow through what you had decided you would do. Second, do not just depend upon willpower. It runs out like fuel in a car. Instead, create routines. Like an athlete who runs every morning without thinking, you can set the same time and place for doing your work. For example, decide to do homework at your desk right after dinner every day so that it becomes automatic. Uh, think of this. I think all of us, every one of you who is listening, you'd brush your teeth in the morning, no matter how bad your previous day was, no matter how bad you're still feeling in the morning, you would still get up and brush your teeth. Now, why is that? Because your brain is programmed to do this activity, and that's why it is still effortless, no matter how bad or how lazy you are feeling. So, this is the same thing. If you have made a routine, your brain would most likely to follow through it automatically without requiring willpower. Third, use if-then plans. So just to make it simple, basically have clarity. Now, this means planning exactly what you will do in certain situations. For example, if it is 7 p.m. and you finish dinner, then you would start your homework. This helps your brain in stop debating and just do the task. One thing I would say is that, I mean, it is very simple to say that, you know, you have in plans, but I have found it helpful to have basically someone whom I can speak to whenever I'm having some confusion. And normally finding a human to speak to for all these silly, simple things can be difficult because you always think how the other person would think about me or judge me. And even if that other person is your wife, is your friend, or is your parents. So I actually like speaking to Claude or Perplexity or other AI agents because these AI agents, because they can speak to you like a human does, the fact that I can just speak out what's going in my mind clears my mental fog, and it just gives me a direction. So many times this AI agent in their response, they would add more value, but to me, just describing the issue, just describing that mental fog, that whether I should do workout now or not, because I think if I work out now, I might catch a bit of cold because it's cold outside, but I should go for the workout because I decided. So just saying things out helps me get clarity. So do try this if you suffer from the lack of clarity. And I think most of the people who basically struggling, they struggle due to lack of clarity. So speak to a AI agent if you cannot find a human all the time to speak to. Fourthly, outsource decisions with checklists. Now, there was a study done some time ago. So, I don't remember the exact year, etc. But surgeons, they used to have a lot of errors in terms of like, in errors in term, for the patients whom they had to operate on. They would operate the wrong leg or they would do some other mistake. So, simple checklists were introduced, and those simple checklists increase the accuracy level, decrease the level of mistakes very significantly. And these checklists were not very technical. This is like when a patient comes, first ask confirm the name with the patient, second confirm this. So it was very, very simple steps which surgeons had to follow, but following those simple steps, following that simple checklist decreased the amount of error significantly. So remember this: success is not about willpower, it's not about discipline. Obviously, these things are very helpful, you need them, but if you can make good systems around you, that would take care of 99% of it. And to add to that, I would again reiterate, Having someone to speak to is so helpful because most of the time when you struggle because of lack of clarity. So even if you cannot remember all the five things I've talked about here, just remember one thing. Whenever you are feeling you are going off track, whenever you are feeling you are struggling, whenever you are feeling you can't decide what to do, just pick up your phone and speak to an AI agent. I'm not asking you to rely on what AI agent is responding to, but what I'm saying is, as soon as you say what's going in your head, the fog will clear in a significant way, and you would be able to see what your next 10 steps should be out of the 100-kilometer journey you need to take. And having that clarity of next 10 steps, and then the next 10 steps, and the next 10 steps, that's what you need. Thank you for listening.